Hello there, this is Denzin and welcome to another video. Today I'm opening a box. This box, Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Warlock of Firetop Mountain, you may be thinking fighting fantasy. It's a game book, it's a solo game. Yes, this is the board game version, which was released by Games Workshop in 1986. Now, I like this game, and the reason why I'm talking about it today is because a lot of people like to talk about Hero Quest, a classic game, as their gateway game from board games to Warhammer and the rest of the sort of wargaming hobby. For me, it was this. Reason being, we'd all played Warlock of Firetop Mountain, the fighting fantasy game book, and because of that, we knew the rules. Skill, stamina, luck, we knew it. So as a younger child, I was about 10 or 11 years of age, I had a friend who had an older brother, and he's the one who would purchase these things. And you'd go around the house and you'd see these and go, ooh, what's this? There'd be Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, there'd be miniatures knocking around the place. All of it looked really complicated and strange. And then I saw this, and I said, I know that. That's Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And because of that, I think this was actually the first Games Workshop game I ever played. As memory serves me correct. And it didn't take us long to get into it. Now, this was produced in 1986. Fighting Fantasy Game Books, I believe 84 was the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. This has been done by one of the authors. Obviously, Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson worked together on the original book, and also founded Games Workshop, of course. But here, Steve Jackson has worked on the board game version. Just flip it over. There he is on the back, smiling away, as he did on the back of all the original books as well. Obviously, we've got the contents, who's worked on it, all of them there. The data you need, 2 to 6 players, 2 hours to play, 10 to adult, which I believe I was. So, and still am as an adult. And of course the contents of the box. Now, this copy was not my original copy. My original copy I gave to a friend, and they still have it all these years later. This particular copy I got secondhand for a reasonable enough price, and all the parts are still there, which is what you want, of course, with a classic game such as this. Now, if I open the box up, we shall see inside. Ooh, the contents. All the minis. Not painted yet. Now, this will change. I'm going to paint these figures. And that's why I'm doing this video now, because I wanted to show them off in their original form before I ruined them, potentially, and made them devalue in price. And the minis we have are a barbarian with horned helmet. Real classic Dungeons and Dragons style there. Who else do we have? We have a knight. Yes, a knight. Oh, there he is. Other tropes, of course, the dwarf. With, again, spiky helmet. Spiky helmet. We have a cleric with a couple of fingers in the air. Politely. We also have a good old wizard, whole hand in the air. You shall not pass. And we have, of course, an elf with pointy ears and so on. So yes, I shall paint these figures up. How well they'll paint up, I don't know. They're very simple plastic figures, one-piece board game pieces. But I do remember my friend's version of this. He painted them up. And he now works for heavy metal, so he did all right. Anyway, moving on. What we have in here, a couple of dice. I don't think they're the original dice, but never mind. Look at this. Now, you might remember playing Fighting Fantasy game books. You used to have your adventure sheet in the book. And here we've got a whole pad of them. Yes, because we're not... Oh, there's a card there. Get him out. There we go. You're not alone in this game. You're playing, obviously, with your friends. There could be up to 6 of you playing the game. It's kind of co-op. You're kind of making your way through the dungeon. But there is a point where you might backstab each other to get the treasure. And why not? And it has everything from the original game, the book. Skill, stamina, luck, of course. Write down what equipment you've got. Your gold, very important. Provisions, which restore health. Whatever treasure items, and all the characters you have to fight. And then we have the key challenge. I'll get to that in a minute. And your own key challenge cards, which we have here. Now, if you don't know the plot of Warlock of Firetop Mountain, when I say plot, it's kill your way through a dungeon and then kill the main bad guy. That's it. I always felt sorry for Zagor the Warlock, because there he is. I mean, he's minding his own business in his own dungeon underneath a mountain, Firetop Mountain, and in comes these adventurers. All they want, of course, is this stuff, his treasure. You know, what's he done wrong? Absolutely nothing, poor chap. But he is the goal, of course, him and his treasure. We just have to slay our way through various encounters to do so. So we have the key challenge cards, because the Warlock's treasure is in a treasure chest, which needs 3 keys to unlock. And you have to find the right key combination. And the key combination can change game for game. Every player starts with key challenge cards. So if you have a card with a certain number on it, you know the Warlock's treasure will be a different number than the one you have. And you don't know what the other player's cards have. So you've got to try and find that out as you play through the game and challenge the players to reveal certain cards. We have encounters, which is the various nasties that we have to fight. Minotaur. And it is a Minotaur, not a Minotaur, but there's a Minotaur. And a good old zombie. And then we have the treasure. All the treasure you're going to need. Oh, what's this? What treasure is that? A bowl of broth. I mean, it's worth killing away for a dungeon to get a bowl of broth. I'm there. And then we have the fixed encounters, such as the Fountain of Life, the Dragon's Lair, and the maze cards. Now, I hated the game book with the maze, and that's Steve Jackson's contribution as well. And of course, he's put it in the board game. Not as difficult to get through in the board game as it was in the original book. The rule book, limited in colour from 1986, very straight to the point. No fluff, really, nothing at all like that you'd expect in a game these days, but just all the rules you need. Moving, fighting, escaping, which is good. You don't have to fight to death, you can run for your life, which is good. The key challenge cards, which I mentioned, and then breaking the code to get into the chest at the end, once you've dealt with that pesky Warlock, of course. Bit of colour on the back, showing you how to do the maze section. And then we have something quite common in a lot of Games Workshop board games at the time, is the little cards which give you all the information you need for any random encounters that you may find. Ooh, look, even more wonderful treasure. Cheese. Anyway, all the artwork is Russ Nicholson, who did the original book, and to me is Mr. Fighting Fantasy. Really great artist. He did work on a lot of Games Workshop stuff in the early days also, such as the original Army books, the Army book for Warhammer. And it would be wrong not to have his artwork in this particular game as well. It really adds to the feel and reminds everybody of the original book. What else can you get from Games Workshop? Look at that. Board games. Not a single Warhammer. No Warhammer Fantasy on there. No 40k hasn't come out yet, has it? 40k. No Rogue Trader on there. Funny there's no Warhammer on there, though, because Warhammer Fantasy did exist. I had only 2 of these. I never played Talisman, which was their big one, wasn't it, really? Judge Dredd, I still have. Kings and Things, I had that one. Never played it. Couldn't really understand it. Too young. But this game, I knew the rules. And a lovely board, also done by Russ Nicholson, which is great. So let's have a look. Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Let's put the board together. A lot of the boards for Games Workshop games of this period just slotted together in exactly the same jigsaw manner. That's the goal. That's where we're heading, to the treasure. What else do you need in life, apart from that cheese and the broth that we saw? But look how far you've got to go. You've got to make your way through all these rooms. What a trek. Blimey. I like the fact that they've tried to make the rooms a little bit different. There's a few themes from the original book. The monsters are all from the original book. There's a few additions to try and pad it out a bit. Where are we going? This is going down here, bottom corner. The river that we have to cross halfway through the book. There it is. So we all start at the entrance to Firetop Mountain, and then we have to fight our way through all of this. Now, the cards, what you do is you have treasure cards in each room. So you randomly place a treasure card, such as the broth, in every room. Then you place an encounter, such as the Minotaur and that lovely zombie there, on every room. So when you go in a room, you flip the card, see what's in there, fight it to the death, or run away, and then you get the treasure. Some places have special locations, such as the Dragon's Lair. There's the money lender there and gives them cash, and the river as well to get across. They're sort of fixed encounters. There are also some secret passages where you can go in and then roll randomly to see where you sort of pop up, which is interesting. Try and beat the players to the river and get across. And when you get to the river, you have options. You can cross the rickety bridge. You can try and punt across. You can pay the ferryman. And very handily, the rules are just here telling you what you need to roll to not fall in the river. Because if you do fall in the river, you meet the crocodile. And you have to fight that to the death. Nice. And then once you cross the river, we have a few more fixed encounters. The gambling hall, where you can make some cash. Larder, where I'm sure that cheese and broth is. The Dragon's Lair, which is the main sort of boss monster to get through towards the end. Once you beat the dragon, you're through to the maze. And the maze works by placing a maze card on each of those big squares. Maze cards will continue the path, but you don't know until you flip the card over if it fits. So that doesn't look, there's a gap. Oh dear. So you flip the card back. But if you remember which way it was round, you can flip it next time maybe and get it, ooh, like that. And get across. If you fail to get through the maze, I think if I remember correctly, oh no, it's after, if you fail miserably to get into the treasure, I think you have to start back at the river and sort of fight your way back again. And if you know that a certain character, another player, has all the cards, maybe you want to kill them to get the keys, because that's what you're looking for with the treasure. You need to search the rooms to find the keys to open that chest. So even if you kill Zagar the Warlock, poor old chap that he is, minding his own business, you still need the keys to break the lock and get his cash, and then live happily ever after. Although, how do you get all that cash back past the other players to the entrance to live the high life in Orlandia, the fighting fantasy land? I don't know. Maybe you just stay put. Yeah, but that's Warlock of Firetop Mountain. A very I wouldn't say simple game. I mean, simple enough that you have your skill, stamina, and luck, and you know how to fight a monster to death by rolling 2 dice, adding your skill, fighting the monster, or 1 dice, I should say, killing the monster eventually. Every time you wound it, you lose your stamina, and so on. Getting the treasure. You know, it's a nice little dungeon crawler. Quite nice, very self-contained. A few special rules here and there for the encounters, so some monsters have special rules. They'll be in the card, of course, tell you all about them. Certain treasure, special rules, that's also on the cards, all there to find. And because you don't know where the things are, different every time. Really nice. And maybe that little wizard will not have to hold things back, but actually succeed himself. So everyone's out for themselves. I do wonder why they never did Death Trap Dungeon like this. That would have been good, wouldn't it? Because that is an absolute classic of the book series. And that one is a bit more competitive because they're all in there to beat the dungeon and get out the other side and claim the prize. And you could have done a very similar thing with this, couldn't you? You could have done Death Trap Dungeon. I wonder why they never did. Anyway, did you ever play Warlock of Firetop Mountain? Did you enjoy it? I mean, I still love it. I can't wait to paint these little figures up. And forget the elf, get rid of him. It's the barbarian you want. Look at him. Dagger and axe. And a horny helm. So, that's done for me. I'll be back maybe to look at another old board game from the collection. next week. So cheerio, and have a good one.